Once upon a time, in a busy city, there lived a man named Sam. Sam was like many people in today's world, busy, stressed, and always running after something. He had a good job, a nice home, and plenty of friends, but deep down, he often felt empty. No matter how much he achieved or how many things he bought, there was an irritating feeling that something was missing in his life. One weekend, Sam decided to take a break from his hectic routine. He had heard about a Buddhist monk who had recently come to the city and was giving talks on how to find peace in everyday life. Curious and desperate for some answers, Sam decided to attend one of the monk's sessions. The session was held in a simple hall. People of all ages and backgrounds had gathered, each seeking something similar, relief from the constant noise of life. The monk, dressed in a plain robe, walked in quietly. He didn't appear to be anything special, just an ordinary man with a warm smile. But there was something about his calm presence that made everyone feel at ease. After a brief introduction, the monk began to speak. "I want to share a story," he said, "about a man who was always unhappy. This man, like many of us, carried a heavy load, not on his back but in his mind. He was burdened by regrets from the past and worries about the future." Sam found himself leaning forward, eager to hear more. The monk continued, "This man constantly replayed old mistakes in his head. He would think about how he should have done things differently, what he should have said, what he should not have done. This weighed him down, making him bitter and unhappy." The monk paused for a moment, then asked, "Have you ever tried to walk a long distance while carrying something heavy? How does it feel?" A few people in the audience nodded, and someone said, "It's exhausting." "Exactly," the monk replied. This man was exhausted from carrying his past. He didn't realize that the past is like a stone. The more you hold on to it, the heavier it becomes. But if you choose to put it down, you feel lighter. The first step to finding peace is letting go of the past. You cannot change what has already happened, but you can choose how it affects you now. Sam thought about his own life. He realized that he often replayed past events in his mind, criticizing himself for things he couldn't change. The monk's words struck a chord. Maybe it was time to let go of some of those old burdens. The monk then shared another story. There was once a woman who was always anxious. She was constantly worrying about what might happen in the future. She would think, "What if I lose my job? What if something happens to my family? What if I get sick?" These thoughts would spin around in her head all day long, making it hard for her to enjoy anything. Sam could relate to this as well. He often found himself worrying about things that hadn't even happened yet. His mind was always racing, jumping from one concern to the next. The monk smiled and continued, "This woman spent so much time thinking about the future that she missed what was happening right in front of her. She would eat a meal without tasting it, walk through a park without noticing the flowers, and talk to her loved ones without really hearing them. She was so caught up in what might happen that she forgot to live in the present." Being present, the monk said, means focusing on what is happening right now. It means truly experiencing life as it unfolds moment by moment. When you eat, just eat. When you walk, just walk. And when you talk to someone, really listen. The present moment is the only moment you truly have. The past is gone and the future is uncertain. All you can do is live fully right now. Sam realized that he had been missing out on a lot by not being fully present. He often thought about work while having dinner with his family, or worried about his to-do list while trying to relax. He decided that he would make an effort to be more mindful and present in his daily life. As the session continued, the monk told yet another story, this time about a man who had everything. This man was very successful, the monk began. He had a big house, a fancy car, and all the latest gadgets. But despite all his wealth, he was never satisfied. He always wanted more money, more stuff, more success. He believed that happiness was something you could buy, so he kept chasing after it. The monk paused and looked around the room. But no matter how much he had, he always felt like something was missing. He would buy something new, feel happy for a little while, and then that feeling would fade away, leaving him wanting more. He was trapped in a cycle of desire and dissatisfaction. The audience was silent, absorbing the monk's words. Sam, too, felt a pang of recognition. He had often thought that buying the next big thing would make him happy, only to find that the excitement quickly wore off. The problem, the monk explained, is that this man was looking for happiness in the wrong place. True happiness doesn't come from things. It comes from within. It comes from being content with what you have, from appreciating the simple things in life. The monk smiled gently. Sometimes we complicate our lives by chasing after things we don't really need. But peace can be found in simplicity, by letting go of the need for more, and by being grateful for what you already have, you can find a deeper, more lasting happiness. Sam felt a sense of clarity. He realized that he had been focusing too much on material success, thinking it would bring him happiness. But now, he understood that true peace and contentment came from appreciating the simple joys of life. A quiet morning, a good meal, a kind word from a friend. The monk then shared a story about a woman who was very kind. This woman, the monk said, lived in a small village. She was not wealthy, but she had a big heart. She always helped those in need, whether it was a neighbor who was sick, a stranger who was lost, or a child who was hungry. She didn't have much to give, but she gave what she could, her time, her care, and her love. One day, the monk continued, a visitor came to the village and saw how this woman was always helping others. He asked her, "Why do you do so much for others? Don't you get tired? Don't you ever feel like keeping something for yourself?" The monk smiled as he shared her response. The woman replied, "I help others because it makes me happy. When I see someone smile because of something I did, it warms my heart. When I help someone in need, I feel a deep sense of satisfaction. I may not have much, but what I do have, I share with others. And in doing so, I find true happiness." The monk looked at the audience with kindness in his eyes. Compassion for others is one of the most powerful sources of happiness. When you help others, you not only make their lives better, but you also bring joy and fulfillment into your own life. We are all connected, and by lifting others up, we lift ourselves as well. Sam thought about how often he focused on his own problems and concerns. The monk's words reminded him that by helping others, he could also help himself. He decided that he would try to be more compassionate and give more of himself to those around him. The final story the monk shared was about a man who faced a great loss. This man, the monk began, was very attached to his possessions. He had worked hard to build a successful business and had accumulated many things that he valued. But one day, a terrible storm came and his business was destroyed. Everything he had worked for was gone in an instant. The man was devastated, the monk continued. He couldn't believe that all he had worked for had been lost. He was filled with anger, sadness, and despair. He kept asking, "Why did this happen to me? How could life be so unfair?" The monk paused, letting the story sink in. But as time passed, he said, the man began to realize something. He understood that no matter how much he held on to his anger and sadness, it wouldn't change what had happened. He realized that the only way to find peace was to accept what had happened and let go of his attachment to his possessions. He learned that everything in life is temporary and that true peace comes from within, not from the things we own. The monk concluded, acceptance doesn't mean giving up. It means understanding that life is full of ups and downs and that we cannot control everything that happens. But we can control how we respond. By letting go of our attachment to things and by accepting life as it is, we can find peace, even in difficult times. Sam reflected on his own life. He realized that he had been holding on to many things, expectations, disappointments, and even some grudges. The monk's story helped him see that by accepting life's challenges and letting go of his attachment to how things should be, he could find a deeper sense of peace. As the session came to an end, the monk offered some final words of wisdom. Life is a journey, he said, and along the way we will face many challenges. But remember, peace and happiness are not found in the things we collect or the goals we achieve. They are found within us, in how we live our lives each day. Let go of the past, the monk advised, and don't waste time worrying about the future. Be present in each moment. Find joy in the simple things. Be kind and compassionate to others. And most importantly, accept life as it is, with all its imperfections. By doing these things, you can find peace, no matter what life brings your way. If you find yourself struggling with the stresses of modern life, remember the simple wisdom of the monk. Let go of what you cannot change, be present in each moment, and live with kindness and acceptance. Life may not always be easy, but with these teachings in mind, you can find peace and happiness, no matter where your journey takes you.